September 11, 2001, became beautiful, the most indelible pain in the history of this country. 8:46 a.m., an American Airlines Flight 11 hit World Trade without warning. Center North Tower. 17 minutes later, another plane crashed into the South Tower. Huge explosive ropes ripped through the city's seasons. Just 2 hours. New York's iconic Twin Towers collapsed. This is the first time since Pearl Harbor in 1941. The largest attack on American soil. 9/11s killed 2,977 people at the same time, including 343 firefighters, 37 police officers, 246 passenger aircraft, and 19 diabolical terrorists. So let's start with this. The identity of the terrorist has been fully confirmed. They were members of Al-Qaeda. 15 of them are from Saudi Arabia. The 2 are from the United Arab Emirates. 1 from Egypt. 1 from Lebanon. And the reason they launched 9/11s. It started in the 1980s. The United States has long intervened in the Middle East situation, especially since the 1991 Gulf War. The United States has a long-term military presence in Saudi Arabia, and Mecca and Medina in Saudi Arabia. It is one of the 2 major resorts of Islam. Bin Laden believes that the army of Fimsland is stationed in Saudi Arabia. It is a serious insult to Islam. He hoped that through a terrorist attack, to start a winning battle, turn Muslims around the world against America, and the planning of this attack, it can be traced back to 1994. Chief conspirator Al-Qaeda oversees activities. Leaders Khalid Sheikh and Mohammed, and his nephew Ramiz Youssef. The latter was responsible for the 1993 World Trade Center bombing, committed in 1996. Mohammed to raise funds and personnel, and presented this audacious plan to Bin Laden. 15 aircraft attacked 10 targets in the United States. Although Bin Laden felt the plan was too radical, but he still decided to fund Mohammed, and terrorists were dispatched to assist in advancing the plan. By the spring of 2000, the plan was finalized. 19 terrorists will hijack for planes, carry out a suicide attack. Mohammed Atta was designated as the commander-in-chief of the operation. Atta was also the first to hit the WTO pilot of the North Tower, but he's not what we expected. Atta was born into a wealthy family in Egypt, received a good education from an early age. He graduated from the Department of Architecture at Cairo University. After studying for postgraduate studies at the Technical University of Hamburg in Germany. While studying in Germany, he had access to Al-Qaeda. Also at this time, his beliefs gradually turned against the United States in the Arab world. After several years of contact, he became an Al-Qaeda-sanctioned jihadist. Early 2000, Atta travels to Afghanistan to meet with Bin Laden. Bin Laden told him that he would become a martyr. Huey's most famous tall building in America, and asked Atta if he would sacrifice his life to Allah. Atta accepted the mission without hesitation. He thought it was a great honor from Allah. In addition, the pilot is the key to the entire plan. Atta specifically selected 3 people with flying experience of terrorists. June 5, 2000. For people or international students respectively, tourist visas and business status, enter the United States. After entry, they were admitted to professional flight schools, formal training. Afterwards, an investigation of their computer also found that they also use Microsoft emulation, flying games for auxiliary practice. Further familiarize yourself with flying, principles and skills for flying large passenger aircraft. This game covers the major cities of the world, city and large airports. The map was restored 1-to-1. Players can even simulate flying a plane, hit the World Trade Center, building after 9/11s. Microsoft wants to avoid people thinking of this disaster. Remove the World Trade Center Twin Towers in the game. And while these people were studying in the United States, in order not to attract attention, they barely talked to each other. until returning to Egypt before the incident just carried out the final planned deployment. But even so, a flight academy instructor still found out. A cadet named Zacharias Moussaoui only focused on learning how to fly an airplane in the air, not interested in takeoff and landing at all. This abnormal behavior aroused the suspicion of the instructor. When he reported it, it got the attention of the FBI. But because it hasn't been done before, there have been hijackings of this magnitude. So Moussaoui was not expelled, and Moussaoui also became the 19th terrorist, the only non-molecule that didn't get on the plane. When he returned to the United States from Egypt in August 2001, because of FBI investigation records, he was refused entry, but Atta quickly found a replacement, a man named Ziad Jarrah. But Yara, whether it's driving skills or psychology, the quality is not as good as other pilots. This is also what Flight 93 failed to do. One of the reasons for flying to the intended location after 9/11s, Moussaoui, who failed to ascend the throne, was quickly arrested, sentenced to life imprisonment. He is still being held in the highest-ranking prison in Florida. Inside a DX prison, American media say Atta is a consummate philanthropist. The day before the crash, he also returned the rental car to the rental car company and settled the consumer bill in the United States, also put the remaining for $1,000, sent to Bin Laden's treasurer. Finally, he took his luggage, stayed at Boston Logan International Airport. Inside is a will written in 1996. The will said he was confident that he was about to teach. "I believe I am on a sacred mission." This will also became important evidence of the 9/11's incident. August 2001, all terrorists have entered the United States, and they're all over New York, areas like Boston and Washington, and booked a flight in advance for the morning of September 11th. Atta's group is Boston, American Airlines taking off. Flight 11. The target was to hit the North Tower of the World Trade Center in New York. The departure time is exactly 8 o'clock in the morning. The second group is for riding. United Flight 175 from Washington. The target is the Monin Tower that hit New York. Departure time 8:14. The third group is from Washington. American Airlines Flight 77 departing. Departure time 8:20. The target is to hit the Pentagon in Washington. Group 4. It was United Flight 93 from New York. Takeoff time 8:01. The target was to hit the U.S. Capitol building in Washington. The takeoff of these for aircraft. The time is within half an hour. This guarantees, after the first plane crashed into the building, the other three are already in the sky, so it can't be stopped from taking off. But what they didn't expect was, Flight 93 was scheduled to take off at 8:01. Due to the delay at the airport that day, didn't take off until 8:41. A full 40 minutes late. And just 5 minutes later, the first hijacked Flight 11 hit the World Trade Cup Tower. In other words, if it leaves 5 minutes later, the tragedy of Flight 93 would have been prevented. 5 pickups per Flight 11. Arriving at Boston Airport, 7 to 405 people successfully passed the security check and boarded the plane. 7:59 the plane takes off on time, planning to fly from Boston to Los Angeles. 8:14 the plane climbs to an altitude of 8 kilometers and completed the last routine with the tower. Contact and the plane veered off course. Just then, the pickup operation has begun. The pickup quickly took control of the first-class cabin, released Trelavas, drive passengers and crew to the back of the cabin, claims they are carrying a bomb. Active action starts about 5 minutes later. Chinese flight attendant Deng Yuanwei contact on the American Southeast Reservation Office and reported an emergency on board. The call lasted 25 minutes. Number 3 in the back of the carpet's not answering somebody's stop in business class. And I think there's a mate that we can't breathe. I don't know, I think we're getting hijacked. Okay, my name is Steady On. First class passenger first. This flight is hunting and our purses and stabs. And we can't get a circuit, but the door won't open 8:21. After receiving the call for help, each bank employee immediately alerted the operations center. 8:25 pickup attempts to communicate with passengers. Danlu River. Calls to passengers are broadcast to the tower. Listened to on the ground. Be okay while turning to the airport. American 11, are you trying to call? Nobody who knows that everything with your key. But you tried to make any moves. But then to yourself and the airplane. 828th Street Alarm Operations Center pass. Notify the dispatcher of each line. The dispatcher will immediately. The plane's anomaly was reported to the tower. After, flight attendant Deng Yue reported to the tower several times. The situation on board. The call was suddenly interrupted at 8:44. At the same time, the plane began to descend rapidly. 846 airplane at 490 miles per hour. The speed of Lee crashed into the North Tower of the World Trade Center. (8:14) United Airlines Flight 175 from Boston. Takeoff for Los Angeles. 8:33 the plane climbs to an altitude of 9 kilometers. Enter the scheduled cruise state. 8:40 to the pickup, enter the cockpit. Cut off radio communication and transponders. The plane began to veer off course. 1 minute later, the tower tried to contact the plane, and there was no response. 8:52 a passenger on the plane calls his father. Tell him in horror. Two captains and a flight attendant have been killed. The terrorists have taken control of the cockpit. 8:58 the plane turned towards New York.